Okay, action.
So, today I had the privilege of being in conversation with 4 people. Coaching, championing. And there's this awareness that's just like bursting for me, pouring out. So I wanted to capture this on camera while it's fresh, okay? I think that deep down, like everyone wants something. I'm not saying they want necessarily something for themselves, like in a selfish way, or that they want something for themselves in a way that's in any way at the cost of anyone else, right? To the contrary, I think on our deepest level, we all want something that ultimately feeds into the well-being of the entire universe. We all want that which is essentially good, and by extension, it's good for everyone. We all want freedom. We all want self-expression. We all want truth. We all want peace. You know, those things take on many forms. It's not only an internal experience or an internal state. It's also, it can take on the form of wealth. It can take on the form of health. It can take on the form of leadership and influence and impact. And it can take on the form of love and service. The gamut, right?
I'm thinking purpose. Is that
purpose? But we all want something. Here's the catch. There are a lot of people who, as a result of their conditioning and their domestication, not only do they maybe not believe they're deserving of getting what they want, not only do they maybe not believe that there's a path, that they're able to have what they want. But some people, okay, then there are those people that don't know what they want. They don't have a conscious knowingness of what they want. Like, it's not explicit for them. And some people even feel afraid to entertain that they want something. Right? And sometimes that's a psychological defense mechanism because they're so afraid that they won't get it. So it's better to protect themselves by not even knowing that they want it. But for some people, it's almost like they don't believe that they're allowed to want something. They don't believe they're allowed to have the desire. It's almost as if to want something, to desire something, puts them on the map in such a way that they believe is not acceptable, is not allowed, is like maybe morally or ethically or religiously or spiritually just wrong. But here's the interesting thing. Here's where it gets really crazy, okay? What I'm noticing is, because of this, there still is underneath everything a desire, right? You can't take that out of the human being. A desire for health, for well-being, for wholesomeness, right? For purpose, for meaning, for all the stuff.
Connection.
It's still there, right? It's still there. But it's never allowed into the conscious mind in an explicit way. That there's something that I want, and then would continue on to what is it exactly that I want, and then beyond that would be, well, okay, what's my plan for going about to creating that, etc. But it's there. Well, here's what happens. It ends up expressing itself, okay, in this overly active psychotherapeutic and psychoanalytical processes and journeys. See, in other words, there's something wrong with me, and I want to heal, I want to recover, and I want to figure out why I messed up, right? It's almost like that whole domain is acceptable. Like, I may not allow to actually want something for my life. Like, that's like, whoa, that's like way too egoic. That's way too much space to take up.
Right.
But, but I'm messed up. I'm traumatized. I'm suffering. I'm always afraid. It's almost like there's an innate permission to be diagnostic with yourself, right? Make yourself wrong. Diagnose yourself with however long a list you can come up with of DSM diagnoses and psychoanalytic constructs that mean you're dysfunctional and you're out of order, and then there's almost like this implicit permission to engage in however much analysis, psychotherapy, mental Mario games as you want. Like, it's almost as if there's like some kind of societal or communal permission for that. And in reality, all of us want to fix our problems, right? Or heal our wounds, really in the service of getting better and then moving on, right? Moving on to what it is that we truly desire most, right? Just like in the physical sense. Like, yes, life has an essential value. But if someone's leg breaks and then they go into a cast for 6 weeks and they go rest and recover for a while, it's really a means to an end so that they could continue living their life. Mm-hmm. So, right, not just so that they can heal and then just stay there on the couch, just without a cast. It's so that they can heal and then go back to work. It's so that they can heal and then go back to running. It's so that they can heal and go dance at a wedding. It's so that they can heal and be able to drive the car again, right? It's like to be able to participate in life. It's the same thing spiritually, right? Like, if there's some wound that one needs to heal, if there's some trauma that one needs to recover from, if there's something wrong that needs to be rectified, really the point of the rectification and the healing and the recovery is
to move beyond that.
Is to be able to now get to that baseline,
right,
and then springboard into what one truly desires, right, and what consciousness truly desires for them, and what they desire for life. But what happens is, because of this kind of implicit or unspoken lack of permission, like that's wrong to want something. It's like it's egoic. Right? It means it's like yeshes, it's metzias, you're not allowed. You're not entitled to that. You're not here to occupy that kind of a space, to claim desire or anything like that. So because that gets shut down, so all the activity, right, that's happening below the level of the baseline of functioning, right? Mm-hmm. All the activity is happening to heal, to recover, to resolve, to fix.
Yeah. The analysis,
all that, which there is permission for, basically gets overused and overused and overused, and people go in circles and dig the hole deeper, and they resolve something on one level, they figure out a new diagnosis for themselves, they get one intervention they get familiar with, but they come up with another reason why they're not inhabiting it good enough.
It's an obsession.
It becomes an endless cycle of people spending years way past what they ever needed in psychotherapy, or in psychotherapeutic processes, or in psychoanalytic thinking, or in just just left brain processing of themselves, because the engine in them is still moving. The engine never dies, right? As long as we're alive, there's that desire, there's that need for movement, there's that need for growth. So if it's stunted and shut down from the top, well, it just keeps working from the bottom. And
it's because they don't give themselves the permission to allow themselves to want.
Correct.
Or to take up that space.
Correct. And it's like, that's what's got to happen. What's got to happen is got to be like, one must give themselves ultimately the permission to have and ultimately to know and to even voice and to pursue what it is that you desire. But at its core, it's like I'm allowed to desire and I'm allowed to spend my life in the fulfillment of that desire. Now, of course, there are spiritual questions that a person can ask, like, are those desires the most wholesome, right? For me, which part of me are they feeding? Are they feeding my survival instinct? Are they feeding spirit? Are they aligned with my values? These are mature questions to ask to temper sometimes desire that is really maybe arises from the animal instinct or from the survival instinct and is very raw and is very untamed, and there's an opportunity for elevating it. But that's the next step, right? That's like, but as a foundation, there needs to be this inner permission giving,
Right.
and
Permission.
and also as a possibility, we need to give each other permission to have a desire for something for our lives, to desire and to be oriented and pointed forward into the future, and to be oriented towards there. Even if there was nothing wrong with me, what would I desire, right? Like, and that's okay, and it's beautiful and it's wholesome.
What would I desire? What would I become? You know, what would I be?
What do I desire? That's a question that has both an inner answer.
Yeah.
Who do I want to become? Which qualities do I want to embody? Who do I want to be? And it's also an outer question.
Yeah.
What material things do I want to have, acquire, enjoy? What accomplishments do I want to achieve? It's an inner and an outer question. It's both. But that's just something that's just so prominent for me, because the context of something's wrong with me.
Are you seeing that more than not with a lot of people?
Certainly in our community, there's a lot of something's wrong with me and I need to fix myself.
And then getting stuck in that cycle.
Yeah,
Because
even if
of
you
the
do
lack
it,
of
even
permission.
in more, even if it takes on more and more sophisticated or nuanced patterns, but
It's
like
the same
that's
thing, though.
yeah, and it's even more problematic because the more sophisticated people get in their psychoanalytic understanding or awareness, the more complex
Right.
their structures
They make it
become,
up.
their way of processing themselves. The greater the labyrinth, the harder it is to get out. Because you're literally like you're constructing your more and more sophisticated and complex psychoanalytic structures, and why this is a defense mechanism against that, and that's a protection against that, and it's like becomes this whole rabbit hole of like intersecting,
Compounding.
and overlapping intersections of dysfunction and pathology,
more and more complex.
Yeah.
It's like, enough already. Just move on. Like.
Again, I think that I think psychotherapy like has this beautiful purpose and this beautiful function, right? I like to think of it as psychotherapy is there to help us complete our childhood, right? Help us meet needs that perhaps in an ideal case scenario would have been provided for in childhood, but weren't. So it helps us kind of reparent ourselves and give that to ourselves. But it's like, okay, well, is there something beyond childhood though? Right? So it's a beautiful thing in and of itself. And the moment it starts getting overused, it starts going the other way.
Right.
And I'm just noticing that one of the reasons why it seems to get so overused is because there's permission for that whole palette, that whole color palette of something's wrong with me, I'm broken, I'm wounded, I'm messed up, and then why and how did that happen, and let me try to fix that. All of that there's permission for. But the moment someone says, wait, I want, let's just be specific. I want to make, someone told me today, I want to be making $30,000 plus profit a month. The moment someone says, I want to impact 1 million people, I want to have a house, I want to be a leader, it's like all of a sudden there's like, am I allowed to want that? Am I allowed to say that? Is it not brazen? Is it not arrogant? Is it not ungrateful? Is it not like an obstruction to what God wants and to what the universe wants?
Yeah.
Let me crawl back into my hole of making myself wrong, and so find something else I can fix.
Yeah.
In myself in the meantime. Yeah, that's it. That's the message. So This is my invitation. It's my invitation to the world. It's my invitation to everyone, every living being, right? To consider this for yourself. Like really, really ask yourself, if you were all fixed and you were all recovered and you were all healed and there was nothing wrong with you, then what? And don't fall for the trap of believing, oh, then my life would automatically,
Right.
the wheels would all start churning. I wouldn't even need to know what I want or that I want anything, because life on its own accord would just propel me forward and lead me to the promised land. No, it's not that way. It's not that way. Nothing, you don't just by act, you don't just by virtue of, by virtue of default alignment, if there ever is anything like that, end up in the promised land. No, 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 no. There's an Amalek that comes along the way to attack you. There's a lack of food that comes along. There's going to be all kinds of challenges and all kinds of
course.
hurdles you're going to have to overcome. And without being resolute, and without knowing what you want, and without knowing that you want it, and without really believing deeply in an embodied way that that's not only okay, but beautiful and possibly why you're here, it ain't going to get you there. That's it.
Yeah.
This is the juices that are flowing out of me right now.
Yeah.
So this is my invitation. Whoever watches the video, I know it's a bit long. Sometimes as I develop an idea, I like state it and restate it, because I'm kind of trying to pull it out of the ethereal thought universe into language. But that's my invitation, and this is what I'm all about, right? I'm like a catalyst for transformation. I told someone today, I chaperone people from their default future to their ideal future. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I do. This is why I'm here. To champion for people.
Yeah.
To chaperone them. To affirm them. To support them. To remind them. Right? To help them along the way. We all need that. We all need one another to, like we say in davening, the angels give permission to each other. It's the one thing that we need to give each other, and it's the one thing that we could give each other is permission. So yeah, whoever's watching this, I love you. Be you. And if any of this resonates with you and you want to have a conversation, something over here touches you, want to go a little deeper, reach out. This is Fitz Rabin.